ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is another special edition of the Cheats Movement on Zoom. You know how we get down. We do podcasts, we do Zoom, we do radio shows, we do everything. But I am joined by a very special guest, designer. I like to say entrepreneur because I know he's got his business squared away right now. But if you don't know, there's something really special going on in the hat community, fitted hat community, and designers are now the new influencers of all elks. And this gentleman that's joining me right now, Manolo Prado, is at the top of
Yes.
his game, doing his thing. So Manolo, welcome to the Zoom, brother. Thanks for the conversation.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I thank you guys for having me.
Man, let me jump right into it because I think people see where you are now. And if you haven't been following, he's been everywhere. Manolo's been everywhere. So if you haven't been following what he's doing with his releases now and his special designs, and I mean I don't even have them because when they go away so fast when they drop. But let's start now because you just recently dropped a really big announcement that you signed a deal to help design with lids. We're gonna get into all of that.
Okay.
But when you look at what's happening now, and I always laugh because the best new artist, like when we look at these award shows and they say best new artist or the person that's got the juice right now, they always tell a story that was 15, 10, I don't know how many years, a lifetime of making that leap to people just kind of really getting caught up to
Right.
speed right now. Manolo,
Yeah.
how long was your journey in design and product to get to where you are now, where you're all over the place and making some big deals?
As far as fashion, I've been designing fashion since the 11th grade in high school, right? I popped this is way before Instagram. This is before Instagram. Instagram wasn't even a thought yet. I popped in the 12th grade in my freshman year in college. My designs became well known.
Give me a year. Give me a year.
Give you a what?
Give me a year.
Oh,
I don't want to date you, but I want to know. I want people to understand.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm old as hell. So this is 2000.
Okay.
2000, I started officially making clothes. I was an AP art student and I entered an art contest. In the art contest, my submission was this thick ass book where I used to draw the same character and I would give them different outfits. Now, I was best dressed in high school. So I had this weird obsession with clothes.
Okay.
But I wasn't a designer. I wanted to be an artist, like a painter.
Okay.
And, my art teacher, without me knowing, she took my art pad out of the cage. We had cages in our art class, and each AP student had a art cage. And she submitted my book because she knew I wasn't gonna be looking for it because I was just into other shit, bro. I was into chicks. I was just into a bunch of nonsense, and I wasn't really focused on my art. She submitted it. I ended up winning the whole state competition without even knowing. Yeah, like she didn't invite me to it. She went by herself because she knew I would have been like, no, I don't want to go, because she knew I was playing around with my gift. And she brought back the little certificate showing that I won, and she lied to them saying that I couldn't make it. And after that, she had a long talk with me, and after that, I decided I wanted to make clothes. And in the 12th grade, I actually started making clothes. And by my freshman year in college, the designs I was doing were well known by all the rappers, and they were buying all the stuff from me. So,
this is in Atlanta.
This is in Atlanta.
Okay.
That was 2001, 2002. So from 2002 to like 2008, my designs were popping, but then the throwback jersey shit kind of went out of style, and I kind of lost my edge, right? So I then linked up with this. Now we're talking about around the time Instagram is created and all of that. And I wasn't on Instagram for like 2 years. I I didn't care for it. I didn't want to do it. A friend of mine told me, Nolo, you got to start an Instagram and start showing off your shoes. Because I was a big shoe collector. Show off your shoes,
Okay.
show off your designs, bro. Trust me, trust me. People gonna pay attention. I said, all right, cool, whatever. I'll make it. I made it. I made it. I made it to show off my shoes. What ended up happening was I end up stepping in some shit, and I did a big sneaker battle with a couple of huge sneaker influencers, Greg Street, Mayor. They'll deny it to this day, but they lost the battle to me. And I beat him in the battle.
Not Mayor. Not Mayor.
Yeah, Mayor. Yeah, and it kind of, yeah, Mayor.
Wow.
Yeah. It helped my name get out there. Not for the clothes though, just for the shoes.
Wow.
And
Those are
it
some
made
big
people
names.
right, but that was on Twitter. The battle was on Twitter.
Okay.
So, because I didn't want to start a Twitter either. And my boy convinced me to start everything. I was like, all right, bro, I'll do all of this shit that you're telling me to do if it's gonna help me make some money.
Right.
And I did it. And that's kind of how my name got out there in the sneaker world. And then it started making people pay attention to the clothing I was doing because I was doing custom clothing. And I started a clothing line called Ghost Label NYC with Solely Ghost, a big sneaker collector up in New York. And that clothing line went bananas. And then that's where I kind of made like the bulk of my money that I made. It was a very successful brand. And that's kind of the timeline and a very quick synopsis of how I got to where I'm at right now. So
there's a lot. Look, there's a lot to unpack, right? There's a lot to unpack, and just that journey from, because it's 2021, so you're talking about
I'm talking
always having a passion, but having a discoverable gift for the last 20 plus years.
Yes, and I've been able to make a living off of my gift So when I graduated, the day before I graduated high school, I got a job at Wachovia Bank, which is now Wells Fargo Bank.
Right.
And I worked there 10 years. I worked at the bank for 10 years. Oh, appreciate it, bro. And what ended up happening was when Wachovia merged with Wells Fargo, can I get I need some Heinz 57 sauce. You just put something in a bowl, but I don't need no pickles. So when Wells Fargo merged with Wachovia, they laid off all the people, and I told myself I'm never going to work for anybody. Now, while I was working at the bank, because they gave me a bullshit ass severance package, bullshit. I couldn't do nothing with it.
After 10 years.
After 10 years, so they let all the Wachovia. Here's the crazy part. They made us train the Wells Fargo employees and then fired all of the Wachovia
right
after they learned the system. All right, cool. So I told myself I'm never working for nobody. Right. I was still doing clothes while I was working at the bank. I just wasn't doing it full time. I wasn't doing it like full time. I'll get some orders, a couple of, I'm in Atlanta, so a lot of dope boys order stuff from me. They'll spend big bucks, so I'll be making these large chunks of monies, but it was just sporadic, you know what I mean? Maybe once or twice a month, you know what I mean, opposed to every day. And when they let me go, I panicked. I panicked. I mean, I'm what? I think I was like 24, 25 or something like that. And 24, 25 working at the bank, you're not saving all the money in the world, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, no problem. I did some bullshit. I did what every no problem. I did what every I'm not gonna say what every person do, but I did what I wasn't supposed to do, and I start selling that shit. All right.
Right. You were in the streets.
Right. And I hit the streets, and that wasn't for me because I was never that person. Because I don't do it, so it didn't work out for me. So that was short-lived. And bottle 57. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, yeah. So check it, man. That didn't work out, so I said, yo, I'm off of this, man. I'm about to just do clothes for real. So I took the little money I had, I went and bought a bunch of fabrics, and I started making pieces, not for anybody, not even for myself. I was just having all of these ideas I had to get out of my head, man. And I started making these pieces, and they just started selling like crazy, right? And they were very intricate pieces. So I was charging, $500-$600 a piece, and people, they were just buying them up. And that's kind of how I officially started making a living off of clothing. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So let me ask this, because it sounds like a crazy period of time with the end of the run with the bank. But looking back on it, was that moment, like that time period, the time period you felt like it put the battery in your back?
Oh, let me tell you something, bro. That is the moment. Everybody have those moments, and when you're going through it, you don't think that's the moment. But I remember when I went back to the bank, right? I went back to the bank because I stopped going inside the bank because I still banked with Wells Fargo.
Right.
And I remember, I'm not trying to put all my business out there, but I'm gonna just tell you.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm kind of transparent. So look, I go to the bank, and remember I told you they laid off my entire branch except the branch manager.
Oh wow!
Everybody but Tanya. They laid everybody off but Tanya. It was 11 of them. They laid us all off. So I would just bank online. I would do all my banking online. I was getting paid through PayPal and all that stuff. So there was never no need for me to go into the bank. I never handled cash. Everything was PayPal. Everything was electric. And if I did have cash, I'll just keep it on me for emergencies and shit. So I remember I had to go into the bank. I had got paid by a stylist. It was like an $8,000 check, and I got paid by a stylist. So I had to go into the bank to cash the check and deposit it. Right, because it was actually a Wells Fargo check that she paid me. So I had to go in there, and anytime I get paid with a check, I'll go to the bank that the check is written on, cash the check, and then deposit cash, because you never know how people handle them, manage their money. You could deposit that shit bounce. So it just so happened to be a Wells Fargo check. I go to the branch, and I'm still literally 4 minutes from my house. And a few of my old coworkers got rehired at the bank. So I'm like, oh shit, what's up? My homegirl Lindsay. Lindsay was a hippie. So I'm like, Lindsay, I need to cash this check. She said, damn, Manny, what the hell you doing to get an $8,000 check? I said, shit, I'm making clothes. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, I decided to start making clothes full time. And she was like, oh my, because we used to always talk about it at work. And she was like, for real, oh my God, I can't believe it's working out for you. And when she put on my account at that time, I had a little over $100,000. And she just started crying. She just started crying. So that was like, she was so happy.
Word. Hey Manolo, you're breaking up a little bit. Yeah, you're breaking up.
Oh, that's because my phone is trying to connect to the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I just look. Hold on.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice you are hearing is Manolo Prado, entrepreneur, designer. We're gonna get into even more about what he has going on. As you can see, he's a man on the move too. He's a man on the move too. But
my phone is trying to connect to Wi-Fi. My phone is trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. So
let's get back into it if you're in, because you said like another thing though, and I don't know, you might realize this and recognize this because this is the first time we're speaking. But for you to be able to connect to folks that they care and want you to win so much that a woman was breaking down crying because of your success, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's dope though. That's clearly you've made an impression on the people that you've been around. That maybe you realize it, maybe you don't, but that's special.
I mean, shit. I worked with him for 10 years.
Right.
It was the same staff for 10 years, so it wasn't something. Right. So we would go out after work and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So she was so happy. So that was kind of the moment that was like, oh shit, Nolo, like you might be on to something. You like leaving this job was that was the moment of clarity. That was the sign. God was like, bro, you bigger than this. You gotta go.
I am very interested too in you being in this world of design, fashion, sneakers, making it all happen right in Atlanta during the time periods that you're mentioning. Because, okay, you froze. You got me? Hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna repeat the question because I was like, I was really interested in you being in that world of fashion, design, sneakers, culture in Atlanta during the time periods that you're talking about. If you're talking about 2000s, even up until now, this is obviously we're a big hip hop community culture show. The fact that this is going through the whole South has got something to say type, almost taking over the entire industry, and you're right there with working in design and working in fashion and working in this culture where I'm sure hip hop was the dominant backdrop of all of this. What did you see? Like, when did you realize like Atlanta was gonna be what it is now? Like the wave, people can talk about 2021 and where everything is now, but no doubt about it, Atlanta had a run or is having a run that might be still ongoing. That's almost unprecedented in hip hop culture from the time that you were involved
in it. It's honestly for us, for Eight Aliens, we knew, okay, so as far as hip hop goes, of course we had Outkast, we had Goody Mob, we had Kilo Ali, we had the whole Buddha Shake sound, right? We had So Def, right? But when we talking about, so here's the thing, there was segregation in hip hop. Okay, New York was the mecca.
Right.
LA had its own world. Texas had its own world. Atlanta, Georgia, we were like us in Atlanta, we listened to everything. We bought every music. We like when these records dropped, we went to the record stores to buy all the West Coast albums, all the Texas albums, all the Louisiana albums, all the New York albums. We listened to everything, but nobody listened to us. Right? Now we had Outkast, right? We had Goody Mob. Nobody listened to Goody Mob, but everybody listened to Outkast because Outkast was the big breakout from Atlanta, Georgia. But even still, we couldn't really get no love from New York. We didn't really get West Coast love like that. A lot of people say, no, we was listening to Outkast. Yeah, you were listening to Outkast, but not the majority that we're speaking about. Right? So realistically, when we knew that Atlanta was about to take over the music game was with Lil Jon. When Lil Jon made crunk music, when crunk music hit and the entire world started listening to us, that's when we knew that we were about to have a moment in music. After Lil Jon, we thought it was done. We was like, oh shit, it's done. Then we hit y'all ass with Soulja Boy. Right? We hit you with Soulja Boy. After Soulja Boy, now mind you, we didn't care for Soulja Boy. He was kiddie. He couldn't rap the shit.
This is Superman time.
Right. But that has nothing to do with the impact he had on the music industry.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Personally, it was like, okay, whatever, what I'm saying? We're gonna let the teeny boppers have that. But as far as the cats in their 20s and their 30s and shit, they weren't listening to Soulja Boy. But Atlanta had a grasp on the industry when Soulja Boy hit. So we had Lil Jon, and that music went worldwide. Then we had Soulja Boy. His one song went global. After that, the fucking Migos happened.
Yeah.
And then after the Migos happened, they introduced a pattern flow that everybody just kind of adapted their style to. And then when you had the New York rappers start rapping like the down south rappers, we was like, oh shit, we really got it.
You know who is, and you'll know why when I say it. But you know who's had a thread through this that can't be ignored, but is, I think, in many ways underappreciated.
In Atlanta, from Atlanta.
From Atlanta.
Yeah, okay.
You know where I'm going with this? Maybe.
I'm listening.
Ludacris.
Oh, Luda. So okay.
Luda's run. Well, I'm talking about when Luda was dropping bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. And then he was able to parlay that into, I think he gets overlooked because now he is seen as even more commercial, right?
Right. So yeah, see Luda. So Luda's from my side of town. He went to school with my older brother. He's a little older than me. So Luda was friends with my older brother. So with Luda, what happened was, see, Luda did not start a movement that caused a shift in music. What Luda did was he became a mega star. Right. And he became the star that every corner of the states decided we're going to accept him. We'll play his music. We ain't playing that other shit, but we'll play Luda. You know what I'm saying? So in Cali, they were rocking with Luda. In New York, they was rocking with Luda because Luda did not rap how people envision Atlanta rappers. You see, Outkast, Dre and Big was so far ahead of their time that the way that they was rapping, the things they were saying embodied Atlanta, but the way that they were rapping, their delivery wasn't representative of what the young Atlanta rapper wanted to rap like.
Right.
The young Atlanta rapper wanted to rap like the Migos and wanted to rap like Soulja Boy. They didn't really want to make too much sense. They didn't really want to say nothing that was impactful. You know what I mean? Whereas Outkast and Big, they were, I'm in Dre and Big and Goody, just the Dungeon Family period. They were so far ahead of their time. So their flow pattern isn't what Atlanta people like. There's nobody in Atlanta that used to try to rap. Like there's no rapper that blew out of Atlanta that rap like Outkast.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But there's plenty of rappers that blew out of Atlanta that rap like Soulja Boy.
Sure.
That rap like the Migos.
Sure.
That yell a bunch of shit like Lil Jon. Because it was easy. It was easy. So
it's a different those patterns and the other thing is too is a little bit of bias when it comes to the South. We see this all the time, but it's a little bit of bias when you have really heavy lyrical content. No matter where you're from, they want to try to hearken you back to the roots of now and again, this isn't New York's fault, but it's like if you're super lyrical, the next thing they'll say is, oh, Outkast doesn't rap like Atlanta rappers. And I'm gonna give you another example. J. Cole out of North Carolina, super lyrical. J. Cole doesn't rap like a North Carolina rapper.
Like, Kendrick, what does that even mean?
Right, Kendrick, super lyrical. He's not really a West Coast rapper. He's doing what they did. So it's like this bias where it's like if you have that content, that intellect in something that is different. Real quick, and I want to get back to you. And we get back to this. But what you were telling me about Ludacris reminds me of how the world captured 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Because like you said, 50 Cent didn't start a movement.
No.
But when he was so ubiquitous after like he linked up with Dre and M and Get Rich and Die Trying dropped, and it's like that kind of reminds me of how you're describing Ludacris, because it's like Ludacris didn't invent the wheel.
No.
But you know what Luda did though that was really smart? He knew timing about like he was on the Khaled records at the right time.
Oh yeah.
He was with Ross. Yeah. He was with Ross at the right time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He did the tracks with Nate Dogg at the right time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he owned that. Luda was on that.
He was so smart. Maybe that harkens back to his radio, background and so forth. But all right, so let me ask this, because the way that I picked up on what you were doing in Richmond, Virginia, from what you've been putting in work for a long time, but the way I picked it up is what you're doing now with this wave of fitted hats.
Right.
And the designs that you're doing with hats, and the fact that I can't even get a Manolo as soon as they drop. I can't even get, because you're big all over now, but you're like, with this community, it's like, oh, it's a Manolo collab with whatever, and it's
Right.
just it's crazy. It's bananas right now. And so
Yeah.
I'm very interested to get your take about one aspect of your background and what you're telling me and what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you compare what's happening right now? Because it seems like the fitted hat wave right now, pandemic, post-pandemic ish, but really took off into a movement that reminds me of sneaker culture.
Oh yeah.
When sneakers really went from, I'm driving 3 states to get behind the counter to point, like it's what's happening with hats now reminds me of a modern what happened to sneaker culture, to the point now where I don't even collect sneakers, but I'm all over these hats.
Right.
How do you see the parallel?
I mean, there is a parallel. See, there is a parallel, and it's a narrative we can control if we don't get greedy. And what I mean by that, this is what I mean. I'm a huge shoe collector. That's what I'm known for. Still, I'm a huge
see, I was on shoes. I'm all shoes.
These are all shoes I bought like this week. Just
oh wow, Manolo.
Just a bunch of things. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just light work.
All right, so look. Here's the thing. Here's the difference between sneakers and hats. The difference between sneakers is that there's only a few major brands. You got Nike, you got Reebok, you got Fila, you got New Balance, who's becoming a heavy competitor now, right? And you got
Easy. You said
right.
Adidas and all that.
Right. So there's only a handful of brands that can even fight in the ring with Nike to be collector worthy, right?
Right.
And Reebok, they're hit or miss. They miss a lot of times as far as appealing to the sneakerhead that's a collector. So boom. So really, let's just say Nike is the juggernaut, right?
Right.
The difference between
they are. They're the gorilla.
Right. So the difference between the hats and the shoes is that there's a lot of hat stores. There's a lot of hat stores that people buy hats from, right? So let's just look at those stores as brands, right? Those stores are brands. There's way more brands in the hat world than there is in the sneaker world. But what has happened in the hat world is these collaborations, like my collaboration, and these storytelling. It's the storytelling that kind of bridge that gap between just a hat being a hat and the hat being a collector's item and a must-have and a panic hat, right? And it started to camp out. So the Pink Bottoms, of course, Frosty Preem and Justin over at Hat Club, they created the wave that kind of started this whole hat movement, because you got to understand this hat thing is only it's only a few years old. You have people who's been collecting hats for years, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this community this new community that has surfaced in the hat world and within the urban culture, right?
Right.
So the only way we can stay equal to the sneaker world is if we don't get greedy. And what I mean by that is when Nike drop a shoe, they're going to retro that shoe, right? But they're going to retro that shoe 8-9 years later. In the hat world, a store will design a hat, put a dope story behind it, order the hats, not knowing if the hats are going to sell good or not. So what they'll do is they'll order 100 hats.
Okay.
The 100 hats sell out in seconds, and then they'll open up a pre-order. Now, once you open up the pre-order, the hat no longer is a panic hat. It's not a panic hat. It's not a must-have hat. Now it's a hat that literally anybody in the world can have. Mm-hmm. And that's the greed part. That's where you kill the hype, right? So me, when I did my hats,
Cause hold on, because you've done so many. Let's keep it on 1,000. You've done so many. You've done so many collabs right now, right? But you're talking. Are you talking about the Manolo M?
I'm talking about the Hat Club. So as of right now, I've only released one collab, and that's with Hat Club, and it was
impossible to get.
Right.
Shout out to my homie Hat Crawler who said you made one of his favorite. He's got thousands of hats. He said your joint, the peach bottom all black joint.
Yeah, that
was one of his favorite hats.
Yeah, that was his first side patch hat. He hates side patches, but
he said it was his favorite joint.
Right. So when I did my collab with Hat Club and they sold out instantly, we didn't know if they were going to sell out because they were Braves hats, right? And Brave hats at the time weren't the most sought after hats.
Milwaukee Braves stuff.
Right. Well, Milwaukee Braves, Atlanta Braves. Like nobody want those hats. Like the community that we're appealing to right now, the Braves hats weren't hats that people were looking for.
Okay.
And when I did my hats, that logo, Braves hats period, became more sought after, right? So when I did my collection and it sold out quick, Hat Club didn't know if it was going to sell out quick. I didn't know. I didn't care. I just wanted to get my designs out there and tell the story behind the hats. They sold out in seconds, right? And then I got my personal collection in it, and then they sold out in a day. Hat Club hit me and said, "Hey, look, people asking for a pre-order. Do you want to do a pre-order?" I said, "No, I'm not doing no pre-order." Because once you open up the pre-order, at that point, my hats mean nothing. Now, stores are going to argue and say, that's not true. We've done plenty of pre-orders and the hat still means something. No, they don't. They don't.
This hurts. This personally hurts my heart. But continue on.
Right. So they asked me if I want to do a pre-order. I said, no, I don't want to do a pre-order. Right. They said, okay, all right, cool. So I was like, yeah. So then my inbox was going slap bananas.
Right.
So I hit them back. I said, look, I don't want to do a pre-order, but I want to do a restock. They said, all right, cool. How many hats you want to order? I said, I want to order 600. I meant 750 hats. They said, God damn, 750 hats. What you doing that for?
Because just to be clear though, because the first order was 100.
My order, no. I don't know how many Hat Club ordered.
Okay. I just wanted, because I want people to have the contrast to the 750. Okay. Yeah.
All right, cool. Me, I only ordered 125 hats, the first release.
Okay.
I ordered 125 hats. I wasn't sure they were going to sell out. They sold out in a day. Mind you, Hat Club released my hats before I got my hats.
Break it down. How does that even work?
So, New Era sends Hat Clubs the hats.
Mm-hmm.
Once the hats come in, Hat Club sells them. Right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, New Era ships Hat Clubs the hat. Hat Club then goes through the inventory, picks out my hats and my sizes, and then they mail them to me. So while they were in the air getting mailed to me, Hat Club released the hats. Right? And they sold out quick.
Right. This is amazing.
Right. They sold out quick. And then my hats got to me like 2 days later. I showed that I had my hats. I'm thinking, damn, everybody already got the hats from Hat Club. So they might not, my hats might take like, a month or so to sell. Shit. Same day gone.
And just so the audience, because a lot of the audience is immersed in the culture as like I understand, but just so we're clear, you can sell your hats on your site is what's happening here.
Yeah.
And Hat Club will sell your hats on their site.
Yes.
So for people that are just kind of picking up on this and vibing with your story, what's happening is Hat Club got them first. They put them out before you could even have them to put on your site.
Yes.
And so then you put about 125 on your site. They were gone.
They were
and
gone.
Then you restocked.
I didn't put them on the website. I sold them all through Instagram. I just sold them through DM, and they were gone. Yes. So yes, what you're saying is right though. I didn't put them on the website. I just sold them.
And then you didn't do a restock with Hat Club. You re-upped your situation.
No. I didn't do a pre-order.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
I called Hat Club back. Right, I called Hat Club back because I'm getting my hats through Hat Club because I don't have a New Era account. So I have to go through Hat Club to get the hats. I hit Hat Club back. I hit Justin back. Say, yo, Justin, I need to order 750 hats. Justin said, God damn, why you ordering so many hats? So I say, well, what you mean? You know, because I got about 1,000 DMs, so I know I can sell the hats.
Right.
So I'm like, what you mean? He tells me the most anyone has ordered on a restock was 300 hats. And that was with J Tips. He said J Tips has ordered the most hats from us. He ordered 300 hats. That was at that time. He probably ordering like crazy fucking hats now. But so I said, oh shit, that's cool, but I need 750 hats. And he was like, shit, all right. So Hat Club wasn't going to restock the hats because I told him I didn't want to do no restock. I didn't want to do nothing. So when I hit him back with a restock, he said, well, let me see what they say. So he hit who he had to hit, and Justin called me back like, they said, fuck it, if you ordering that many hats, we gonna restock too. So I said, all right, cool, go ahead and restock. So they
right,
restocked.
but you have that. I mean, you have no real say in that. They
right.
You can't be like, nah.
The good thing about Hat Club is like they ask you like, yo, you want to do this, you want to do that. So when I told them no restock, they said, all right, fuck it, no restock.
Right, they was just like, we good, right? We good money.
Right. They asked me if I want to do a pre-order. I said no. They said, okay, cool. Now they could have went behind my back and did it, but that would have just ruined the relationship. And you know what I mean? So when I called back for a restock, they hit me back like, yo, if you don't get that many, you find a way to restock. I was like, no, go ahead.
Some just hit with your audio too. I don't know if it's.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you, but it's different than literally the whole conversation previous to that. Like it might be going through a different system.
Yeah, this happens on Zoom. I gotta leave and come back.
It's all good. Well, hold on. I want to hear this. So I want to hear this. This is you into some real real strong content right now.
Behind the scenes shit, right? I'm giving y'all behind the scenes shit. So Hat Club said, all right, cool. We'll restock it, and that's how the restock happened. Now I'm happy the restock happened. Check this out. These are the little details that hat collectors pay attention to. Can you hear me clear?
Not clear. So all right, let's take the break and come back. So what do we got to do? I'm gonna stay on. You get out and get up.
I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come back.
Okay. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, Manolo Prado is giving us some real gems. So we're gonna keep this thing going, but he is giving us some real gems right now. We really appreciate it.
Can you hear me clear now?
Yeah, you're perfect. Yeah,
clear as day. All right, so check me out. So my first run of hats, they were made in China.
Okay.
I don't care for China hats.
New era production.
New era. Yeah, new era.
In China, because they do China and Bangladesh.
Right. My restock were Bang Bangs. We call it Bang Bang. They were Bangladesh. So they fit. They're just beautiful. So my second run was Bangladesh. Needless to say, I had all the hats. I released the hats differently because people start botting hats. Mm-hmm. They start using bots to get the hats. So I didn't want to put it on my website because I know my website ain't blocking no bots. My website ain't all the bots eat. So I decided to, again, I knew it was going to take me time to do it, but I wanted to spread out how I released my hats to give everybody a fair shot. So I released the hats like in 3 different waves, and it took me about 6 days to sell all 750 hats. But I could have sold them in 1 day, but I did not want to.
Right.
I wanted to prolong this thing. I wanted to build my prototype page. I wanted to build engagement. I wanted to talk to the people because I wanted to talk to the people. I wanted to gel with them. You know what I mean? So I was doing lives. I was doing shop drops. I was doing waffles, which is raffles. I was doing raffles. I was communicating with the community. You know what I'm saying? I was letting them know like, yo, I'm doing this shit for y'all so that y'all can get the hats fair and square. And that's how I released the hats.
Let me ask this because I want to get to the heart of it too. And I can already tell just by how you move and just the time we've been talking, that you're a personable person, social. People, like I said, people are drawn to you in many ways. How does a Atlanta designer get hooked up to get a relationship with the NoHo? I'm assuming it's NoHo Hat Club when you talk about the wave to do a collaboration.
Cool story. I don't know if it's cool, but I'm gonna just.
Oh no, it's gonna be. I trust you.
All right, so look, I've been buying hats my whole life. I wear snapbacks and fits, right? But you got to remember when I was in high school, it was only fitted hats. Snapbacks had been long gone since the 80s and the early in the late 90s, hell, really the early 90s. And it was all fitted. So all we did was buy fitted hats. So everybody who wore hats collected fitted hats. It is what it is, right? So as I got older, I slowed down on buying hats, right? I slowed down on buying hats because I started wanting to wear my hair like Nas, the fade, half moon, the wave.
Right. The crescent.
I mean, I was on my pretty boy shit, right?
Queens is the flyest.
Right. I was on my pretty boy shit, right? So this is what happened. I'm gonna tell you how I got linked up with Hat Club. Hat Club released a hat. Right? No, rewind. I have a client. And he's good friends with Justin, right? What the Braille on Instagram, right? And he would always inbox me, New York dude. He would always inbox me, big me up. Every time I post something on Instagram, he'll DM me, let me know it's dope and all of that, right? And he was like, yo, I really want to hook you up with my boy Justin. And I'm like, who the fuck is Justin? And he's like, he works for Hat Club. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? And, I was very familiar with Hat Club, but Hat Club wasn't as big as it is now. So Hat Club released a hat. They released a Hat Club exclusive. It was the New York Yankees timeline hat. Mm-hmm. Right? The hat with all the timeline logos.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar.
I was obsessed with that hat. And I got through online, right? I got the hat. When the hat came in, I made a hoodie to match the hat. Right? I see. When I made the hoodie to match the hat, I did a YouTube video about it. Right? Okay. I did a YouTube video about it. And what happened was the bridge between me and Justin, the homie Quan, he kept bugging Justin to work with me on what I did not know. I was like, I don't know. I don't do hats. I don't do that shit. So I don't even know why you're even trying to bridge this gap. But he was like, yo, you really need to get up with Justin. And he's telling Justin, yo, you really need to rock with Manolo. Now, Justin's a New Yorker. Me, I'm Southern. We have hospitality. So I'm open. I'm like, all right, bro, whatever you say, let's do it. Justin's like, why the hell am I going to mess with him? He's a New Yorker. I'm like, well, who the fuck is this guy? You keep telling me about this guy. Who is this guy? Anyway. So Justin,
and you're being kind. And you're being kind too, because I know a lot of New Yorkers, and it was not that kind when they be like, "Yo, who is this dude? Right. Like, get out of my ear."
He's probably like, why? So Justin finally goes to my Instagram page and sees what I do for a living.
Okay,
I do a lot of sports related clothing. I'm obsessed with MLB logos, so that's why the majority of my stuff is all sports related. Even though I can do anything, I can make you a suit. I can do anything. I can do whatever you want. But me personally, I love making sports related pieces. So Justin had a Braves jersey that he wanted to put Deion Sanders' name and number on the back. So he finally hit me like, yo, what's up, man? My boy Quan's telling me about you. I got some work that I want done. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is what he was talking about. Like, he just wanted to link us up so that I can do some work for him. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I did the jersey for Justin. I did it. I sent it back to him. He loved it, right? He loved it. And he called me, right? he called me and he's like, yo, I saw the hoodie that you did for the timeline hat. He was like, that was dope. I was like, all right, bro, appreciate it. He was like, I kind of want to start my own thing. So, any knowledge will help. So basically, me and him started talking about clothing because he wanted to do his own thing. I said, all right, cool. So at this time, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I didn't know that he was like the hat designer guy. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I knew he worked for Hat Club. I knew he designed hats.
Right.
I just didn't know that he was that guy because he didn't have no following. He didn't have nothing. So as the days went by, we started talking on the phone more. And what ended up happening was he found out that I collect old Mitchell and Ness jerseys. And a lot of the jerseys didn't have hats to go with them. So I wanted to make hats that match the jersey. So he was like, yo, I can make those for you. I can just make you one hat. So I was like, oh, I bet. So I just sent, so he was like, just text me all the hats you need made and I will order them for you. I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up sending him a long ass list of hats that I needed, which none of them got fucking made, Justin. Not one of them.
I was about to say one hat is impressive.
Right. So I sent him all these hats I needed. They were just, it wasn't nothing that I was designing. I was basically just matching the jersey exactly. So I would send him a picture of the jersey and then I'll send him like the hat breakdown. He was like, all right, cool. And one day he called me and he's like, yo, you want to do a collection? I mean, he was like, no, you want, no. I'm lying. Please don't let me lie. He called me and we're talking. And I said, Justin, bro, I got this idea for a Braves hat that I want to do. And I was like, I really got an idea for a few Braves hats. But, I know you said you could just make me one hat, so I want you to make me this hat. He was like, all right, what is it? I was like, yo, it's the two-tone, it's the regular Braves hat, but I want the brown bottom for the dirty South, for the mud, you know what I mean? And I want the side patch to be the color of peach. He was like, all right, cool, I'll mock it up. And he mocked it up. And then he hit me like, yo, what were the other hats you wanted to do? And I was like, bro, it's like 2 other hats. It was 3 hats in total. And he was like, fuck it, let's do it. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, let's do them. I was like, shit, okay. And then he was like, yo, why don't you do some Milwaukee Braves hats? And I was like, I mean, I haven't thought about it because, I had told the story, the other 2, the original 3 Brave hat, I told the story with each hat, and I didn't have a story for the Milwaukee Brave hats. Mm-hmm. So me and Justin collaborated on those stories. And he was like, yo, why don't you do the Milwaukee Braves and the Hawks colorway? Because here's the thing, I told him I wanted to incorporate Hawks and the Hawks, not necessarily the Falcons. I want to incorporate Hawks, but I don't want to do an NBA hat. I want to do an MLB hat. He was like, yo, why don't you just do the crossover? Why don't you do the Braves hats and the Hawks colorways and your favorite Hawks jersey? And I said, oh shit, you're right. So boom, we came up with the Brave Hawks hat. And then he was like, yo, in addition, since Trae Young is on the Hawks and he's doing so good, let's do a Peachtree. Let's do a hat that represents the Peachtree jersey. And then that's how we got the Manolo and Peachtree hat.
That's dope.
And that's how I got my first collab with Hat Club. It was just me and Justin bullshitting and came up with it. He showed the hats to John, who showed them to Ryan. And one thing I like about Hat Club, if they call you for a collab and you design the hat, even if they don't like the hats, they're going to make the hat you want. They're not going to say, yo, you should do this, Manolo. You should, like for instance, I had the Yankee hats that I told you I'm doing to tell my origin story. That was supposed to be the Sports World. That was a Sports World collab.
On in Sports World on Jamaica Ave, New York City, right?
Right.
Okay.
When I mocked up the hat and sent it to Sports World, they didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they tried to change it. And I was like, that ain't how that works. I just inked his deal. I immediately called Liz, like, we had Sports World passing on the collab. You want to do it? They was like, hell yes,
Right.
hell yes.
Oh
And
man, that's crazy.
they were like, yes, we want to do it.
Right.
So now that collab I'm doing under LHD, which is Lid's Hat Drop, which is the new activation that I'm creative director over.
Look, we're
Me,
gonna
me.
all right. So let me do
Okay,
this
we're
because
speaking. We're speaking.
no. Let me do this because I want to be very respectful of your time, and I
Right.
know this feels for me. You might do this all the time, but for me, I do a lot of conversations. This feels very familiar.
Okay.
And when I say familiar in a good way, like almost like you know what I'm saying, like we
Right.
good, like we're probably too comfortable, like we gonna say something we shouldn't say, comfortable.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Okay.
that's a blessing. But let me ask two questions, and I'll get you out of here, and maybe we'll be able to do a part two down the road
Okay.
because this is phenomenal. Where you see the culture now? You already mentioned some other names. That you were talking about, like J Tips, yourself, the people that were, a lot of the, even if it's you talking about T Mark or the Views from the Vault guys, do you kind of see, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I look at that and I'm starting to see in my mind, like, what Virgil and Jerry and what's the brother out of Chicago? Don C. Like when we looked at that sneaker and then that wave came in. Do you feel like right now we're in a wave that starts to have that you're a part of, right? Like legitimately a part of. Do you feel that way or does it feel different?
No, I feel that way. So let's just be real about it. I don't have no problem saying names. You got J Tips, you got T Mark, you got me, right? We're the top 3 collaborators.
Okay.
I can't think of anybody else collaboration wise and quote unquote influence wise. I don't like using the word influence. The reason I don't like using the word influence is because I'm not an influencer. I say that because I can convince you. I've convinced people who's never put on a Braves hat and who hates the Braves to wear Braves hats, right? So let's just say I have people who diehard Yankee fans who hate the Braves. I designed a collection that influenced them to wear Braves hats, but I cannot influence them enough to get them to stop wearing Yankee hats. If I can get them to stop wearing Yankee hats, that's a true influencer. I'm only part-time influence. So when people call themselves influencers, it's bullshit to me because you can get me to do something good, but you cannot get me to do something bad. You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Right. So you got me, you got T Mark, you got J Tips. I can't think of anybody else collaboration-wise who's above us in the collaboration game. And that sounds cocky. I hate sounding like that, but fuck it.
I understand where you're coming and you're right.
Right. So J Tips is he's King Kong of collaborators. He's the one with the most motion right now. Then you got T Mark. You gotta understand these are New Yorkers. They have New York on their back. They have New York on their back.
Yes.
Right. They have it on Smash. And that's where the culture is. Let's not play like the NoHo Nation isn't the reason behind the hype of everything. You got Tab, you got Naughty, you got Blue Brim, you got Saucy, you got
all New Yorkers.
All New Yorkers. You got HK Billy. You got all the female. It's all New York. So they have more support than I do. Even though everybody out there fuck with me, they're not fucking with me like how they fucking with T Mark and J Tips. So for me to even be in the conversation, I feel like I can hold my nuts a little bit. You know what I mean? I can hold my nuts on people a little bit, right? Okay, cool. So you got that, right? And like you said, we're the Virgils and the Don C's and the whoever the hell else, the Jerry.
Yeah. I'm just if we're looking at kind of this recent sneaker, I mean, there are different waves, right? Different time periods have different waves.
Right.
Both of us, I think both of us are old enough now in hip hop to remember, waves that were different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like even before that predates that. But just for clarification's sake, in regards to it feels similar.
It does. It feels very similar. It feels like we're taking the hat world in that direction, right? Where these big brands your Lids, your Hat Clubs, your My Fitteds, who I believe are the best storytellers, My Fitteds. So I will put them in the conversation, but they're not collaborating because they're the store and the owners designing these dope ass hats. So you got these big stores, which I do got a My Fitteds collab coming. You got these big stores that I said earlier are like brands,
right?
And they're collaborating with freelance artists like me,
Right.
Tips, and Mark, right?
Right.
So it does create that aura, and we're releasing panic hats. We're creating these hype hats, and hats were never hyped like this before.
Never,
right?
Like this time right now is some of the most hype in the history. It's
Right.
never been done before. So that's why it
It's
also
never been
feels
done.
very. It feels
Right.
very.
And again, this new culture of hats, it's fairly new. You got to think Justin put out the first pink bottom in 2018, and they gave him resistance about that. But he got that motherfucker in there. He snuck it in there. You know what I mean? And it created. They lined up for it, and ever since the shit was history. Without the pink bottom, and people are going to argue and say this still would have happened. No, the fuck it wouldn't have happened. It would not have happened without the pink bottom.
You don't think so?
No, it just is what it is. You can argue up and down that it would have. That what's going on right now,
right,
in the hat in this community that we've built, you can argue that it could have happened without the pink bottom. And we can do woulda, coulda, shouldas all day, but the facts are it happened because of the pink bottom.
It's like saying you can argue that there would have been hip hop without Cool Herc, right? But
exactly,
but Cool Herc, but they had to have the party in the Bronx and Cedric to have a starting point.
You get it.
Okay,
it is what it is. We can argue all day.
That it would have happened without this.
But the fact is that it did happen. It happened because of the pink bottom and the oxy. Right. So I just had to stop, give Preem his. I don't even know him.
I love it. Let me ask question number 2, because I do want to talk extensively. So it'll be a 2-part, because I do want you to talk extensively what you're doing now with Lids and how this has come full circle for you. Okay. But the way you describe brands and stores, like stores and brands, here's the thing that people, because like, so somebody like me in Virginia and Richmond, we have a ton of Lids. We have no Hat Club presence. We might have it down in DC or New, I'm not sure. But the Hat Club presence is not a thing. It took me this kind of what you're talking about, this kind of boom and wave, for me to really understand, like, oh snap, Hat Club is a store. Hat Club is based in Arizona, you know what I mean? And then the NoHo store is doing all of these things, like, you know what I mean, like this ground zero. But it took, like, I had to learn all of that. Like, I knew where Lids is. Like, you go to Lids and you know what I'm saying. So for you to have those types of collaborations and then make this announcement that, yo, I'm at the Lids headquarters. They snatched me up. I've signed a deal. Almost like you got your Rockefeller chain. You know what I'm saying? and now you and forgive me if I say it wrong. Manfu was both at the same time. Y'all made y'all Rockefeller announcements on the same day, I believe. So, how does that work in the sense of, like, when, you know, Kanye or Jerry leave Nike and go to Adidas, y'all ain't going back to Nike. So when you already said, though, like, we've bigged up Hat Club a lot during this whole conversation. And rightfully so. Love to them. I love to have them on the show. But you just signed, you got this Rockefeller chain now from Lids. What does this mean? How did this come full circle? Does that mean you can, how does that work for all of the stuff that you're doing?
Okay. Lids, this is how it works. Lids reached out to Manfu first. They offered him the job. He was going to be the only person doing it.
Oh wow.
Lids decided, yo, why don't we get someone else why don't we get someone else to do it, and we'll have two people doing the same thing but speaking to two different audiences. So Munfu has a large YouTube presence.
Yes.
Which
I didn't even know.
Right.
I watched views from the vault, but it took me a second to learn about the whole reviews and YouTube, and so shout out to him.
Right. So also he's a YouTube god, right? So he's the one who helped Views from the Vault, giving them all the pointers on what to do and blah blah blah. Because Views from the Vault didn't include him. It was just Jason, Pierre, and
Leon. Right?
They later
it was actually Pierre and Leon, right? And then they bought in Jason and Munford.
Jason and Munford.
Yeah.
So they
And full disclosure, I'm talking like I know these folks. I don't. I've only interviewed Jason. I just know from following, like, you know what I'm saying, from doing my research.
Right. So Munford has so much knowledge for him because he's just a helpful motherfucker. And they was like, yo, do you want to be on the show? Like, yeah, okay, cool. All right. So he's a personality. Andre's a personality. He's a goddamn fool. So Lids reached out to him, offered him the gig, and he hit me like, yo, Liz just offered me this shit. Do you think I should take it? So I was like, all right, have you talked to him, got the breakdown yet? He was like, I haven't gotten the breakdown. I'm gonna talk to them tomorrow. So I said, let's just talk about it tomorrow. Because he know I'd be on my business shit. So he called me the next day, gave me all the details. I said, yeah, sounds good, right? He said, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna sign the deal. I was like, all right, cool. That same day, Liz hit me and offered me the same thing. So I hit Andre. I say, yo, is this what they sent to you? Now keep in mind, Liz did not know that me and Andre knew each other.
Again, I was gonna ask, but I was like, so how did that happen? You told me about the note, but y'all cool like that too. How does this happen?
They didn't know. I'm gonna tell you how me and Andre got cool. I'm in Fitted Hat Society. That's the Facebook group. That's the biggest Fitted Hat Facebook group.
Yep.
Right. I'm in Fitted Hat Society. So I'm in Fitted Hat Society. I'm posting. When I first joined the group, I started posting my clothes and shit. And, because I'm a whole nigga out here. I'm not reading no rules. I'm posting whatever the hell I want to post. And if you ban me, okay, so I posted clothes. They're like, yo, Nolo. So the admin hit me like, yo, Nolo, this isn't a clothing group. You can't post clothes. I think I'm smart, right? So I'm posting clothes to match fitted hats. So I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
That's hilarious.
But look, the admin is like, yo, I'm not gonna lie, I like it. It's bringing something different to the group. So just keep doing it. And if the other admins complain, I'll just tell them fuck off.
Okay.
Well, I'm like, all right, cool. So I wanted to start doing YouTube. So I started doing my little rinky-dink YouTube channels. And again, that's what Andre does. So Andre just takes the initiative and he just hits me up like, yo, what's good? He hits me up on Facebook like, yo, what's good? I'm like, what's up? He's like, nothing.
I love this.
He's like,
you're just like, what's good?
Right. I'm like, what's up? He's like, nothing. I'm like, all right, so what you hitting me for? He's like, you should do YouTube. And I'm like, well, I just started a channel. He was like, yeah, I saw. Your videos look pretty crispy, but you need to do this. And I'm like, well, who the fuck are you? He's like, here's my channel. And I go to his channel. I'm like, oh, fuck, he knows what he's talking about. Right. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to him. And I started doing what he was telling me to do, and my views, my subscribers went up, and then we just clicked from there.
That's amazing. Amazing.
And that's the same thing he did with Views from the Vault. He started over doing YouTube videos, and he just hit him like, hey, you should do this, and watch what happens. And the shit took off.
That's crazy.
So that's how me and Andre met. So anyway,
back to the contract.
Yeah, back to Lids. So I'm like, yo, did they hit you with this? He's like, yeah, but they hit me on some hat shit, and they hitting you on some jersey shit, and some hat shit. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, yo, we need to let them know that we know each other. So we let them know that we know each other. They're like, oh shit, that's crazy. That's even better because the chemistry is going to be, because me and Andre at this point, we buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're like, oh shit, the chemistry is going to be dope. So me and Andre, I said, all right, cool. Well, just give me and Andre a couple of days to talk about it. You know what I mean? And we'll negotiate the numbers. So we negotiated the numbers. We came to an agreement and we decided to sign a deal, right? And basically what Lids is doing, to make a long story short, we're creating another Lids. We're creating another Lids, and we're catering to the culture that we've created now.
Mm-hmm.
Lids is a very big, Lids is the number one hat selling store in the world.
Yeah,
they sell more.
It's ubiquitous, monster.
This is going to sound crazy. They sell more hats than New Era.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Right.
It doesn't sound crazy.
Right.
They got to deal with fanatics and all that too, right?
Right. So what ends up happening with big corporations, right? You got investors, you got all these partners, you got everything. You have to appeal to the average consumer, not to a special consumer.
Right.
Right now in the hat world, in the community, that the space that we're living in, we're considered special consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hat Club, not Hat Club. Lids has to cater to the average consumer.
Right.
Average consumer is who's going to make you a billionaire. They're going to make you $1 billion.
Sure.
Right? So the hats, they have to be careful with what they're putting in their brick and mortars, in their stores. They have to create a product that in a room of 10 people, at least 7 people in that room would buy that product. Right?
Right. I get you.
They said, that's fine. That's perfect. That's amazing. Shit, that's amazing. But they also said, you know what? We want to live in that space that you're living in too. So now we're going to design hats for the special consumers, for the specialty, the novelty consumer. Sure. And that's what we're creating over at Lids. We're creating this space of fashion hats.
So it's what it is, and this is dope. It's super dope, and I think they've got the right people for the job. But it goes back for us, like it goes back to sneakers in the sense of, you know, like you said, that big giant, like Nike, what they've done with the sneaker app is absolutely phenomenal in creating the hype and the panic. The sneaker app, like the sneakers app and the shoes they release on that app is what of their GDP? Very small.
Exactly. Right. They don't release all of their shoes on it. They don't release white Air Force Ones on sneakers app.
No, it's just this is what we're carving out, and they, like I said, I think they got the right people for the job, but
that's exactly what it is.
What has happened here?
The hats that we release on Lids Hat Drop on LHD, you're not going to be able to go into a Lids store and buy those hats.
Right. So now, let me ask this, because again, like go back to a little bit of the original question. When you ink the deal and make the announcement and I'm just a Rockefeller guy, so I love the Rockefeller chain thing.
Right.
Do you get a call from Hat Club or Sports World or something and be like, yo, what, like, you look like now look what happens now?
The only people that reached out to me was Hat Club, because Hat Club in the fashion hat space, Hat Club's King Kong, right?
Right.
They're King Kong, right? I had a collab with King Kong. I have more collabs coming with King Kong, right?
So there's not like I don't know if you're a wrestling guy. It's not a WWE AEW thing where the wrestler goes over to AEW, they can't come back. Like,
no,
okay,
it's not.
Okay.
Now, of course, Hat Club that's what they thought it was. They was like, yo, so like, how does this affect our relationship? And I'm like, it doesn't, because I was very clearly, it's like, yo, I got collabs coming with other stores, and they was like, shit, okay,
right.
I was like, so that's no problem.
They just want in. They just
Yeah.
want to be in the Manolo Prado business. How do we
Yes.
get in?
Yes. So that was like, okay, you would like what you saying that for? I'm like, oh, I just want to make sure that there's no con. They was like, no, we got collabs coming. I was like, yeah. It was like he was like, do the collabs, do them.
Any
You know,
fear?
and then
Because you're very careful about, you were saying about just how you release stuff and how you move. Any fear about
right,
oversaturation, or like, multiple collabs, multiple
yeah,
companies? Any fear about oversaturation?
no, no, no. I'm not. Here's how you got to look. Here's how I look at it. Right now, and I may be wrong on this number. I'm gonna say there's about, realistically, there's probably about 20. Let's just say, fuck it. I'm gonna just say like 40,000. There's like 40,000 active fashion hat collectors, panic hat
Collectors.
Right,
Okay.
right, actively, right. We're not ordering 40,000 hats.
Okay.
2,000 hats, 1,200 hats. No matter how many collabs I do, we're never going to make 40,000 hats.
Mm-hmm.
So there can never be the only way you oversaturate is through pre-order.
It's funny too, because I was, you may have heard this philosophy. It's a business book. I'm not going to quote the individual on this pod, only because I kind of read this book. You know how you read something and you only believe you believe like 90% of it is BS, right. And then there's like 10. So, but there's a part of it in business that goes that they didn't like. Oversaturation is not real. It's not a real thing. And they were saying that. Now here's the thing. They were saying, because most people's problem. Now you may be in a different category, but most people, when I'm talking to my people, like my friends, they're like, "Oh man, it's like independent artist A, right? With hip hop, right? Independent hip hop artist A made his album. It's like, man, I don't want to be everywhere. I don't want to drop too much. And it's like, and I'm listening to this book, and it's like, the problem isn't oversaturation. The problem is nobody knows who you are. Now again, you're in a different category. But it was like, like I'm drinking Pepsi right now. Do you think Pepsi's oversaturated? Everybody knows what Pepsi is.
You're still going to go to the store tomorrow and buy a Pepsi.
So it's like it's not that problem. Look,
so in the business of hats, when it comes to oversaturation, like I said, I don't think there'll ever be oversaturation unless you open up a pre-order. Because when you open up a pre-order, those 40,000 collectors can all get the hat. If all 40,000 people get the hat, you haven't oversaturated yourself. What you did was you killed your hype, because after the 40,000 people buy the hat, you still got the new people who's coming in, because every day new collectors are coming. So you can never, there's never oversaturation, because there's always more people that's going to want the hats. There's a kid who just turned 13 who just got into hats. Now he's a collector. He may have missed the pre-order, right? He may have missed the pre-order. So boom, now you have one person who don't have the hat. So now you're not oversaturated, because now you got one, and then you got the next 13-year-old. Then you got a 25-year-old. Then you got people who say, yo, Nolo, you the only reason I start collecting hats. So now you got that person, and so on and so on. So as far as oversaturation, yes, but killing the hype and killing the buzz and killing the I don't want to say profitability, but I'm gonna say your buyer's market. You can do that. You can kill that.
Let me ask this, and I'll get you out of here. But this has been it's been a wonderful conversation and a blessing. I'm talking to you from Richmond, Virginia. Like you said, you're in Atlanta. You've been doing all things up and down, all over, and now with this last deal with Lidge, it's going to be almost, when did you realize, particularly with hats, because not like I know you've been making money with design for a long time. When did you realize with hats where it's like, man, this wave might be different? Like I'm starting to get messages I never got before.
I'm gonna tell you, it was when they previewed my Dirty South Got Something to Say collection. You know, they get the hats, and this is before John. You know, John, he takes those infamous hats. He take those infamous pics of the Hat Club hats. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing those then, and they were actually just doing photo shoots. So they did a photo shoot with my hats, and when they posted the preview of the hats, my DM went crazy, and I said, "Oh shit!" I said, "What?" Now, when I say crazy, it didn't go as crazy as it did after the hat sold out.
Right.
But it went crazy in the sense that I got like 108 DMs that day, right? Just about hats, not about clothes, just about hats. And I was like, I said, yo, these people want. Hey, Justin, like, yo, Justin, these folks want these hats. He was like, yeah, man, they should sell out. You know, Justin, like, you know,
I love
Justin,
it.
right?
I love
Justin, he's not gonna talk your head off. Like I'm gonna talk your head off. Justin not gonna talk your. He's like, yeah, they should do pretty good. Yep. You know, he always, yep. And I'm like, how long do you think they're gonna take? He was like, I was like, you think it's gonna take like 2-3 days to sell out? He was like, 2-3 days. He was like, I'll give it about an hour. I was like, an hour. I was like, hour? I was like, my hat's not selling out in no fucking hour.
Was it a line? Did they do the line? It was a line out the street, like out the store for him?
No, COVID hit. There was no line. No hole wasn't open. So I was really spooked because there was a poster release in store.
I think. Have you ever had that? One of your hats in the because of COVID, you've never had that. Because I'm assuming that also has to be surreal. To be like, yo, people are outside lined up for something. That's gotta feel crazy.
It is an unreal feeling. It's a moment. It's a moment, and you sit back and you be like, oh shit, this is really happening. It's 1,000 people out there who don't know who the hell I never met me. I don't know who they are. They only know me from my Instagram.
Right.
They're lined up to buy something that I created.
That's crazy.
That's a moment.
That's crazy.
That's a moment.
Man, all right, Manolo, let me tell you, this has been a pleasure and a blessing. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, I'm sure we left so much on the table just because I can just tell from having conversations with you how much we've left on the table. Hopefully we'll be able to get a part 2, and when you're doing some new stuff, and when all of this stuff comes on, we could do some quicker hitters, if you will. Yeah. Tell everybody where they can find everything you're doing. What's the best way to keep up with everything you're working on?
Instagram, Facebook. I'm not that heavy on Twitter as I used to be, but Instagram. If you follow my Instagram, you're gonna know everything I am doing. Everything through Instagram. That is my platform that I use the most. That's where I make the most of my living from. And I'm gonna tell you, Facebook, hat groups, and Instagram. I'll be revealing everything. And I told Liz, hey Liz, you gotta understand I'm kind of a transparent person, and sometimes I don't know how to hold my tongue. It was like, hey, just be you. We don't want you to change. We don't want you. If you gotta tell some of our business, tell some of our fucking business. You know what I mean? That's why we picked you, because your personality, we like the way you move. So you
never change. Never change.
Everything. Yeah, you'll know everything through Instagram.
Craziest person you've ever seen wearing your hat?
Ooh. That is a good question. Craziest person I've ever seen wearing.
And not crazy person, but somebody that you seen got that hat that's yours that you're like, yo, that's crazy.
That's a good question. Probably Ariana Grande.
What? That's huge. That's different. That's like, you're talking about top 5 Instagram accounts, right? Like, that's crazy. But think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. my homeboy, he's a big, huge music producer. He like produced like her whole album, and I guess she took his shit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and was rocking. So that I'm gonna probably say that. Who
Is there
else?
is there one that's the most uh personal to you? Like, I don't know if you know Ariana Grande, but is there one that's like, yo, that's I always remember a story where Jay-Z came to a Kevin Hart show. I think he told it on Breakfast Club or
Oh
something like
yeah, he
that.
told that story. Yeah,
And he was like, yo, but that's when Kevin Hart was like, yo, I might have, like, you know what I'm saying? Because that was somebody in his culture that was close to him that was like,
right.
is there one that you were just like, when either you got hit off a message or somewhere, it was like, yo, that hit me in the chest, like.
Um, this is this is true. This is gonna. It's not even crazy, but it is crazy. It's. How can I say this without making this a racial thing?
No, it's
You
all
know,
right. You can be. I'm black.
I can't not do it.
100% black.
No,
Like, I'm good.
Jason Mead Hatcraft. When he reached out to me to ask me to do an interview to talk about my hats,
Mm-hmm.
that was a moment for me.
Mm.
Because Jason's like the whitest of the white guys. He's like white.
Right. Yeah, that's good money. That's good money, though. That's my guy. I like him a lot.
Right. So I'm like, okay, cool. You want to interview me. But then when he goes on and telling me about like how he loves the collection and like the Peachtree hat is like his first side patch hat and it's my favorite hat in my collection. And that shit, that was crazy to me. And then Pierre,
Yeah.
he got my hats again, super white dude, right? These are people, when I'm making my stuff, these aren't the people that I think
Sure.
are going to want my product. These aren't the people that I'm catering to when I'm designing my product. So when Jason hit me and told me that the Peachtree was his favorite hat, and then Pierre called me, right? Pierre calls me and say, Manolo, I need 5 of your hats. I need all 5 hats. And I'm like,
Ooh,
well, don't
this
you
might
have
this might this might be inside baseball because I'd be wondering how they get everything so
right,
fast. How they get everything.
right. So he hits me because he was a client of mine. I made up some Bo Sox stuff for him. So he hits me like, yo, I need all 5 of your hats. And I say, well, you already got them. And he was like, yeah, I know. He's like, I never double up on hats, but this is probably my favorite collection to date. And I gotta have 2 sets of them. And that that's when it's like, oh, whoa. Because here's the thing, man. I've had clothing lines. I've had a few clothing lines that did pretty well. And they cater to all kinds of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't never see them. You know what I mean? I put the shirt up on the website, they buy the shirt, I make the shirt, I ship them the shirt, and then I go from that Instagram account to my Instagram account, and then I'm back on my Instagram account. So to see that, because the hat world consists of different kind of collectors and different groups of collectors. Everybody collect for different reasons, and these collectors all look different. The collector that I thought I was catering to, were the collectors that look like
Yeah, absolutely.
me. So when I find out that all these other collectors are into it, that was a moment for me. And yeah, that was a moment for me. And I hope that didn't sound like crazy,
No,
but
no,
like if you see Jason, he's like the whitest of the white guys. He's like the real white guy. So for him, like those are like, that's like, oh shit moments for me. And that's
I
just
think,
me being real.
but
That's just me.
I think the beauty of what you're describing is you can take extreme pride in designing something for people that are similar to you, that look like you, and have your background. And I think the idea of what you're describing, the beauty of it is you did that. So you stayed authentic to yourself, but it transitioned
Exactly.
your own, you transitioned your own kind of niche, your own like community, and it started to
Yeah,
make an impact to folks that you never thought you would even be able to touch. But the
exactly.
fact that you were able to do it without compromise, I think it's where it really makes a difference. Because anybody,
Yeah.
like I talk about, I talk to my friends all the time in regards to like this YouTube interview and anything that we would do on a blog or anything from Richmond, Virginia, may not be relative to folks outside of Richmond, like outside of the people that know
Right.
me and know the stuff.
Right.
But the idea was like, I was like, yo, if I wanted to get big on Instagram, I could put cat videos up. I could be hella popular putting cat
Right.
videos up. I don't care about cat
Exactly.
videos. So it was like, I want to be able to do the things that's authentic to me. And hopefully, if people relate to it, and the idea that you're able to stay authentic to what you're designing and what you're making and what you're building, and then it hits this community and it hits this community, it hits this community, and you haven't had to compromise or change or sacrifice what you're building. That's real special, man. That's awesome.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, man. Hey, man, that shit is for tough to me, man. I think it's amazing, man. Like, it's amazing.
Well, it's
And
oh, good.
I don't think some people appreciate that. I don't think
I,
some people. I don't think some of the creatives appreciate.
I think it's hard. I think you have to have a different perspective to step out of yourself, right? While you're in full grind mode. And I think what a
Yeah,
lot of people are and let's keep it 1,000 too. I think the other side of that coin is a lot of people need that chip to to be motivated to keep that grind going,
yeah,
right?
that's true.
So when you have that chip of I still have places that, and I think everybody has like, oh, I have these aspirations, I have places I want to go, and but it's real hard to even be able to accept compliments when you've got that chip. Like, you know what I mean? Somebody will be like, yo, I'm
Yeah,
really, like, if somebody stopped you and was like, yo, I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm really proud of you. You almost feel uncomfortable, right? Like, all right, bro, like, right, stop. And because you look at it like, yo, I got all these things I still got to do, right? And so I think for you to be able to start to even recognize, like, yo, I'm doing all of this stuff and this is dope. Like, it's
yeah,
dope that this is going on. I think those types of perspectives, that's going to help. But I also think that it's different. Like, it's a different type of mindset to keep it going.
yeah. That's
Um,
a fact.
with that said, man, I'm gonna let you go. I really appreciate this conversation, man. I'm
No
gonna
problem.
be glued into the Instagram and everything that you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, Manolo Prado. This is the Cheats Movement Zoom conversation. You will be able to find this on the Cheats Movement podcast. You'll be able to find it on YouTube. I'll also probably put it up on the cheatsmovementblog.com. I know we've been slacking a little bit on the actual blog work, but we're going to get back into it. It's been a lot good things, a lot of good things going on. But the world's starting to open back up, and with that, you'll start to see a little bit more of what we're doing. So until next time, everyone, yo, we see it.